What up, gamers? Frontier here, and welcome back to my reaction to the Theorizer's Pixar Mega Theories. So last time we started to watch the Incredibles theory, starting with the Syndrome theories that has to deal with the first movie, and now we are going to continue the Incredibles theories with the second movie here, with Winston Deavor knew all along, and the Incredibles theory that changes absolutely everything. So yeah, I'm gonna guess that with Winston here, which for me, I kind of forgot his name. I just mainly know him as the voice actor, which is Bob Odenkirk, and he's the guy from Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, known as Saul Goodman. And also, it is interesting too to hear about the other guy. Yeah, I guess this guy over here. That's kind of funny. Yeah, both of them, the voice actors are from uh, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Yeah, we got Jonathan Banks over here as I forgot his name. Was it Rick? But yeah, like when I heard his voice in the second movie, like wow, he sounds a bit different. He sounds like Jonathan Banks, and yeah, he is the voice here. So yeah, I'm guessing these two are actually a bit more in the know, if I'm gonna guess. And assuming that is the case, then yeah, let's go and find out through the Theorizer here. Which yeah, once again, go in check him out. I'll also make sure to leave his videos in the comments below. But here we go. We'll begin with Winston Deavor knew all along. But yeah, we got two videos, very short. The next one might be very long, but yeah, let's go begin with the, I guess these two Incredible 2 theory videos. Here we go.
The Incredibles 2 is the awesome sequel to the first Incredibles movie, and I quite enjoy both of them. So, since
I enjoyed
earlier
both
this
too.
year I finished my trilogy of theories where I analyzed
I
and
think for
solved
me,
syndromes
I do prefer the
past
first
from
movie
first
over the
movie,
second,
this time I'm going to look into the second.
but I do like them both.
So spoilers, because I'm going to try and answer questions nobody has thought to ask about this movie's shady villains.
Z- Yes, not just the person behind the screenslaver. But yeah, I guess here will be it'll be Saul, which I'm sorry if I'm gonna forget the name. I mainly just called him Saul just because I know the VA.
Hello,
He even
I'm
looks like
the
him too, a little
Theorizer,
bit.
and little Miss Evil Endeavor over here has a shady little plan that extends far beyond our knowledge base of things. I think some pretty drastically epic things sometimes, and this is no exception, because I think good guy Winston knows some things. I'm not even going to hesitate in getting straight into this, because I have a theory that the whole screenslaver character was partially his idea. I'll explain why in a minute, but basically his whole plan to bring supers into the limelight needs a catalyst, and a big new villain is obviously the best way. What he didn't know was that Evelyn continued to be the screenslaver and used it to her grander plan. I
Okay.
seriously doubt he knew of
So I'm guessing they were both like in the know at first, but then he wanted to stop, and yeah, the sister wanted to keep on continuing the screenslaver stuff.
her super mega planning though. As Evelyn says, Winston would likely try to sell the hypnosis tech. Also, he asks what Evelyn has done when she hypnotized the people on the boat. I do think he knew about her tech a little bit, but again, I'll explain in a minute. Most of this is all observed in his sheer
That is true.
reactions throughout the movie. They aren't nearly as shocked as they should be. His reaction to her imprisonment, it's so freaking nonchalant. Now, I'm not saying he knew everything, I'm just suggesting that
I never thought about it. Just the way he reacted, it did feel like a bit more calmer than I thought.
he could tell something was always kind of up with his sister's plans. And this should be obvious based off of his very superficial reactions throughout the movie, but how deep does his knowledge truly go? And was he also behind the publicity stunt that was the screenslaver? So Evelyn, despite her hatred of supers, honestly liked Elastigirl a bit, and her plan was clearly to control Helen without Helen figuring anything out. She did like her. The only problem, of course, is Helen's clever intuition, but here's where things sort of fall apart for me. It's not like Evelyn was even trying all that hard to conceal her evil. It's basically like she wanted to be found and knew it was inevitable. She's so cautious, but she makes enormous logical mistakes, like how would the screenslaver know Elastigirl specifically would magically return into the spotlight? How would the screenslaver know to
That
give
is
such
true.
tailored messages to her, like on the train monitor? This is all easy stuff for an average person to figure out,
Yeah,
and that it would
it's all
lead
pretty
back
much
to
a
the Devers,
coincidence
but Evelyn makes these huge mistakes, and the
that,
bizarre
it just seems really fishy that I can definitely see, like, what he's trying to imply here where yeah.
computer one is where Elastigirl figures it out. Even Helen comments on the laziness,
Like,
but
yeah, of course
saying
we know that, she's the one behind it, but, like, how she I guess, all the other stuff that kind of, like, I guess foreshadows that. I just never thought about that.
elaborateness of the screenslaver. The screenslaver act basically was, as the movie says, very smart but easy to discover, and this same thing applies to Evelyn herself, and she acknowledges it. She's just too smart to be stupid. I mean, she allowed the screenslaver's screen to be tuned in to Elastigirl's suit cam. That isn't something she needed to do. It's actually a flat-out hindrance, and it's very intentional. It's like she casually wanted to be discovered, is my point here. And
Okay.
Winston's reactions are the same kind of nonchalant extreme.
No, yeah, for real though, like, once again, like, because I know the VA, I can also just see his face being here. Like, he could play a live action, like Winston if he wants to.
Doesn't even question, and neither does Elastigirl, how the police knew suspicious activity was going on before the train derailed. Yeah, from like the police scanner. Hold on, yes, how would the police know about the screenslaver's suspicious activity prior to the monorail if it was all via remote hacking? It's like it's all staged by these two, particularly Winston, who has indeed confirmed that he loves staging things and bringing things back for nostalgia. Now, I don't know if the
Hmm.
police were actors or hypnotized, but
I can see that. I think one big point he made was like perception, right? Like, yeah, he wants to, change how people see things. And yeah, like this could also be like another thing as well in the back, like in the background where, he does want to stage things up as well.
it doesn't matter at all
Make it
because
seem
this
like
isn't even an evidence point, it's just
it's
an
not like just
additional
having
tangent.
cameras to
It's
prove
one
that
of
you're
those things where you have to look at the characters'
doing heroic things,
reactions
but
because Pixar does control every facial aspect of these guys. He kind
to
of
make it seem like you're
creepily
really
and
saving
fakely
like people
smiled as he
through
gave
like
Elastigirl the
actual evil
screenslaver's mask as a memento, like he
and not
always
like
had
fake.
the power, and now he's giving her the result of their super propaganda. And again, his lack of any shock when Evelyn is revealed, it is astonishing. He doesn't want to believe it, and he masks it with unbearable charisma, but he knows it. He knows of the tech, and it clicks for him when he understands her plan near the end. When he says a very
Yeah, like I mean, based on like everything I've said so far, I can definitely see like a sequel to like where using this like idea of like him being like a hidden villain. He could be a villain as well.
very oddly worded
Like for the
statement.
third movie,
What did you do? As
they
if
could
they
come back
both
to him. He's
knew
still
there was
around. He's
something
not
that
like
she
locked up.
could have done. He knows
They
she
might just
is
break out the sister
suffering.
to stop him as
He is
well.
very clearly aware of the screenslaver's falseness. That's not all. On the yacht, when she takes him, he asks where the others are, and she casually just says, "Still hypnotized," as if he'd know that was possible. He
Yeah,
follows it up by asking the "What did you do?" which means he does know of the hypnosis tech. And I mean, of course he knows about the technology because he knew about the screenslaver's weapons, but what I mean is that he instantly attributes it to Evelyn, as opposed to thinking the screenslaver was just never caught or something like that, because he knows. And that's
yeah.
the big reaction that makes no sense.
Like,
With the
wasn't his next line something like, "What have you done?" It's like just immediately like to her.
Without even saying any more, he just jumps out of the plane and leaves her without asking what she'd even done. He knew, because he was a part of the scheme to use the screenslaver. He knew it was Evelyn's hypnotech, but then he says things like, "Did you make them new masks?" Which means there are still parts of her plan he doesn't know about. It, oddly, in a very intuition-based way, comes together. He figured this out immediately, and she basically stopped trying to save him from the boat crash. What a crazy woman. Evelyn has an almost set plan prior to Elastigirl being dehypnotized by Jack Jack. She kind of just screams out random phase numbers to her minions without any of her set phases or plans seeming to change after Elastigirl's dehypnotization. It's like she expected them to be saved, but she still looks
Okay.
distraught. Insanity is genius, Evelyn. As does that apply possibly to the eternal child of extroverted feeling that is Winston Deavor over here, Mr. Undying Charisma in the face of abject fratricide. They
Oh, and yeah, so far I do like the theory. I think the only thing I'm like maybe a bit iffy on would be like with Evelyn, just with her, just like maybe wanting to be caught and stuff. I feel like it's more of like a mistake. But yeah, that's just me though. That's just me. Like maybe she didn't see like the flaws in her plan. But let's continue.
Violet says Evelyn probably won't get a serious prison sentence because she's rich, and Winston silences Violet with passive-aggressive charisma, as if to imply that, yeah, he'll bail her out promptly. He says he
Yeah,
has a
it was
good
very
feeling about the supers
the
near
way
the
they
movie's end, and even
went about that.
Frozone is all like, should I be worried? Evelyn's ultimately fine with everyone figuring out that she's evil, but she blatantly lies to Elastigirl about Winston's involvement, claiming Winston would market the hypnosis as a fairly good excuse for his very subliminal actions. She doesn't want his creation of the screenslaver to imprison him, not out of care or love,
Mm,
but so that when she goes to jail, he'll be innocent enough to debate her freedom. More on that in a
okay.
second. Screenslaver is all
I can
stunt
start to
work and
see it now.
acting with a
I
real
think, like what I said earlier, like a minute ago. But yeah, I can see it like where she's trying to take all the blame so that, when things go pretty much south like this, then yeah, he's pretty much like on the opposite end where we saw him like he tried to save the heroes by destroying the screens and stuff. I mean, I'm not sure if they would have proof that he did try to be on the good side. But yeah, I'm guessing as much as possible they try to put the blame on her while yeah, Saul would be on the good side.
person in the mix. Telecommunication controls what you see. The Devers did this as a publicity stunt to give Elastigirl a reason to be able to come into the spotlight. Evelyn agreed with this so that she could eventually force all these supers who are now in the spotlight to come in like villains and destroy everything, etc. Minor villains like the Underminer and basic burglars definitely aren't enough and are rare as it is, so they created a supervillain. Easy.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say about the movie as well, since I did rewatch it, um, yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that they just pretty much continued like where they last left off in the um the first movie.
Evelyn just took it way too far, and
I'm kind of
Winston
curious though because I remember like I don't know if it's if they're related or not, but I do remember I played The Incredibles back on the PlayStation 2. Like it was a demo, and I think you were fighting the Underminer there, and then you get to play as two characters. You get to play as uh Mr. Incredible and Frozone. Yeah, I play a lot of Frozone. I like his abilities a lot. I think out of all the Incredibles heroes that I know of, he's probably my favorite, mainly because of his gameplay back in that PS2 game. But yeah, I kind of wish I knew more about that game because I'm just wondering if that's supposed to be as well, like somewhat of a continuation. But yeah, I just want to see that. I don't know if that really plays a part here or not.
is covering it up very casually. The pizza guy acting as the screenslaver was only used at the very end when Elastigirl caught him. Everything else was Evelyn. Everything. Elastigirl honestly should have figured out the Devers sooner, as the message did literally say, "Welcome back, Elastigirl." It was her test, and nobody else knew of her return to be. In fact, I'm pretty sure Evelyn tried so hard to save Winston from the conspiracy that they both knew about, because again, if he was arrested too, then nobody would bail them out of prison and
Yeah.
argue their release. Shifty. I might even be prompted to say that Winston brought the Underminer into the spotlight too. Dude, Mr. Miner, like seriously, your cliche goal is to undermine peace and happiness and steal a bank. And Winston's right there, by plan, to bring out the supers to fight a villain they used to fight.
I don't
As
know. I
Mr.
feel like with the
Incredible
Underminer part,
acknowledges the Underminer.
I'm pretty much like
Also,
50-50
Winston will
on
be able
maybe.
to talk to Frozone.
I can see it
Bingo,
going either
boy!
way where
And
he's
the
not
whole
involved.
concept of the screenslaver character
Like he's involved
really
or not.
seems to be a hindrance to Evelyn's evil plans. The world to her hypnosis, technology, but it just would lead to more suspicion around her. Evelyn used the screenslaver as a distraction that was not needed. Elastigirl had no reason to suspect Evelyn until the screenslaver was caught. It's a needless distraction, unless it's a publicity stunt by Winston that Evelyn had to work around. And it all leads back to her. She wants to be caught, because if she's caught, it will distract away from Winston. And not only that, but she didn't want to go to jail. It's all a big message she's sending about supers. Now everyone has a seed of doubt planted in their mind. and don't trust their screens. So yes, I think Winston was a part of the creation of the screenslaver, but he didn't know about the following madness planned by his sister. This movie's great, and I do have more theories. Here's some cool additional things to think about.
There's one more after
The
this
Deavor's
that I
parents,
plan to
my
watch.
biggest questions revolve around them. They were fans of supers, but for some reason they felt the deep need to have multiple direct phone lines to supers and a safe room. Like, are the Deavors really that sought after by criminals? What was the message behind the robbers? What was their goal? This is the main thing I've been pondering over since the movie's release to theaters, and in January, I'm going to get out a video explaining it. Don't take my idea of fellow
Incredibles,
YouTube
the
viewers,
true
I think
villains.
It all has ties to wanting the illegalization of supers, and there's so much in the beginning scenes of The Incredibles' glory days that point to so much people have yet to analyze. I have the theories. I'm making the video after Christmas, soon. I don't think the Deavor kids
After Christmas.
the father killed or that the father had killed himself, but it is all
Much
quite
it is before
suspicious,
Christmas.
since they seem to know everything he did, going up to the phone, getting shot, etc., but they were in the safe room. I think whomever sent the robbers to do whatever they planned to do wanted an evil Evelyn, and I feel like Evelyn doesn't want revenge on supers as much as she does the people who killed Daddy Deavor. Illegalization, hence the ambassadors on the boat to kill. So until then, subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Make sure you select all so you'll be notified when the next video comes out, because we aren't done here. Until then, I'm the Theorizer.
Yeah, very interesting. At first, I was a bit iffy. I think mainly with Evelyn just wanting to be caught and stuff. But I think, later on, I think I am like convinced that she did not want to be caught. All right, now we're gonna move on to the second and last video for this reaction video, and that is the Incredibles theory that changes absolutely everything. But yeah, just seeing Rick being on the thumbnail, I'm gonna guess just the way he talked about at the end of the previous video, where there might be someone where they want to make an evil Evelyn. I'm gonna guess that, you know, pretty much, I guess the people that are with Rick, yeah, they're probably I guess behind maybe everything. I can maybe see that, man. Just imagine like building up the first two movies where at the third one he's revealed to be like the mastermind in the end. But yeah, let's go and start this video here.
The Incredibles is such an awesome movie, I just can't even. And so is Incredibles 2, I also just cannot even. I make theories, I analyze the most minute detail from a movie that doesn't matter just so that I can see if a hidden plot element can be extrapolated and then solved through logical analysis. It's fun. So I've done it to my favorite Pixar movie 6 times so far. I've made a video calculating their powers, I've made 3 of my best ever videos dissecting the backstory of the awesome villain Syndrome, and I've also deconstructed a bunch of Syndrome's possible plan with the government in these movies. Incredibles 2 also came out a while back, so I made a cool theory on it, which discussed the secrets of the movie's villain, but today I've found a lot of evidence for a long-held theory I
so
had
what the heck is
about
this, man?
movie's government, which was only further proven by Incredibles 2. So today, I shall finally share it with you all.
Okay, here we go. I'm curious what he's about to say about the Incredibles here, and I guess apparently they're the true villains. I am not sure.
Hello, I'm the Theorizer, and what am I
Hello,
going to look
Theorizer.
into today? What specifically? Well, the nitty-gritty details of the illegalization of superheroes is something to be theorized on. Rick Dicker is the lawyer who works with the National Supers Agency, and he helps all the supers with their legal trouble. In the second movie, he confirms that politicians are obsessed with squashing superheroes. I personally believe it's because they want to be seen as the most powerful people in the world. They don't want people with physical strength to trump their political abilities, and so the first and most crucial point of my theory is that I'd go so far as to say that some villains, such as maybe the Underminer or Bomb Voyage, are actually created by the government to try and eradicate superheroes. And again, as I've said in my Syndrome theories, the government didn't know a whole lot about Syndrome's true plans, but they still really did let most of it kind of just slide. These villains are built for supers to slip up.
Dude, that is definitely a story for a third movie.
Clearly at an all-time high without supers being legal.
Like, just end off in a trilogy. That would be kind of nice.
Intentionally or not. Rick Dicker is, or was, the lawyer representing the superheroes. He is the NSA's main legal representative, and he's erased the memories of many people who've discovered the identities of supers. Mr. Incredible has even explained how Rick erased the memories of tons of friends and apparently even family in the past. Also, I'm sure that whatever mysterious action forced the Incredibles to move at the very beginning of the first movie would have been erased from the minds of civilians as well. In
Even
regards
that kid?
to Rick and the government,
You think?
something
I guess her too. But you think the kid that was like on that bike with the bubble gum? I'm guessing him too.
quite intriguing is Kari, yes, the babysitter. Rick Dicker found her, knew of her memories of Jack's attack on her.
Oh, was she there too? I kind of forgot. I kind of forgot if she was there or not. Like like during the beginning of that movie.
And he erased them. He probably
I
found
mainly
her
just
because of the
remembered
messages
about
she left on the
Tony.
Incredibles answering machine, but suspiciously enough, he never told the Incredible family what he was doing, as they never discovered at the time that Jack was also a super. So far we know that the government wanted supers illegal, probably aided a few supervillains to achieve this, and we know that Rick Dicker and the NSA don't say much about their work.
What if, like, you know, in the Incredibles 1, when that guy tried to, you know, commit unalive, what if that's also probably staged just so that they can sue Mr. Incredible? I can see that being a thing too.
So where am I going with this? Well, we're going to see how far the government might have gone to eliminate supers, because the deeper you go, the more shocking and astonishing it becomes. Exhibit A, Mr. Incredible tackling the suicidal building jumper.
Here we go. Wait, is he about to say like what I just said right now? Where like, what if like this guy, like it was just pretty much stage? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how he would like survive. I assume that with this guy that agreed to like jump off the building, like he would. I'm guessing he expect himself to like survive, like even without Mr. Incredible's help. Because yeah, just imagine if he wasn't there though. Unless like they had like some kind of like I guess a bird's eye view to like make sure Mr. Incredible's in place to save him. Like okay, when he's in place, you fall down from the building. I can maybe see that being a thing. But yeah, you know, I feel like that's such a risky stunt to pull.
Big main lawsuit that led to superheroes being illegal. If you've followed my thoughts up until this point, then
Oh, bad. All right, let's continue.
I've got it. I think that this also could have been staged by politicians.
Yep, that's
Maybe
that's
not
what
the initial
that's what I
jumping,
thought
I'm
too.
thinking more broadly. Political and governmental lawyers, politicians representing victims of almost anything suable relating to supers, including the monorail incident, and forcing the NSA to create, well, the relocation program that it did. Even Rick, in the second film, admits that politicians have been gunning for supers for years. My point in all of this is that politicians are staging villainy to catch supers off guard. They want them illegal. They want them suable. They want them to slip up. They want the NSA to be sued so the government will shut supers down. They want the power. Proof is everywhere. But this brings me straight on into the NSA, the National Supers Agency, the organization that Rick Dicker works for. The NSA is a government organization. The same American government that we just established is notorious for sabotaging superheroes. If this tie exists, and it does, could the NSA be a friendly disguise for an organization that is built to suppress superheroes into irrelevancy? I'm not joking. It's entirely possible and likely.
Okay.
A secret agenda only known by the leaders of the organization. Lowly lawyers like Rick know nothing. All they do is erase memories and relocate the people they swear to protect. Suppression of supers. A no supers agency. A plan to relocate and rid supers from the limelight to rise politicians from the ashes of a criminal society so that they can swoop in, save the day, and put an end to the crime they've created. It's a lot like Syndrome's plan when you think about it. Everyone suffers from hero syndrome in these damn movies. And if you think this is deep, get a load of this shit. What's even more suspicious is that Frozone says to Helen and Bob that Winston was trained under Dicker? Hold the friggin' phone.
Yeah.
Why do they so casually gloss over this little quote? This changes everything about the Deavors. Remember my theory on Winston's possible part in creating the screenslaver? This amplifies everything I said by 1,000. Winston worked with the NSA. This proves that Winston and likely Evelyn knew everything about the organization and worked with the government and knew about how to bring supers into the limelight because of it. This is so incredibly key. Okay.
Okay, yeah. At first, I wasn't sure where he was gonna go with that. I just couldn't like think about it at first. That's why I was like saying, okay, all right. I wasn't sure where he was gonna go with Rick.
Okay, I'll take a pill to chill. I do hope you all know what this means. Not only does Winston know all about the NSA and how supers are built, all of it, but it also means that the NSA's benefactor was most likely none other than Daddy Deavor. I'm finally close to solving the death I promised I'd solve back in June. I can feel it.
Yeah, he talked about
Their tie
this
to
at the end of the
supers is
previous
deeper
video.
than ever. Daddy Deavor aided the supers, paid money to help the organization, and it was likely his money behind the relocation program. They were made illegal just as he was shot. How non-coincidental, by the way. But the NSA itself had already known all about the supers, as shown on the first movie's detailed bonus disc. Their knowledge was gained before the relocation program, not after. Winston Deavor was then taken in by Rick Dicker after Daddy Deavor's decease, and Winston learnt all. This must have made it so much easier for Evelyn and him to do what they did. In the second movie, the relocation program
pretty crazy
was
to think
shut
about,
down, but the NSA is
with Rick
still
just being
alive and
involved like
kicking,
this.
applauding Evelyn as they staged the murder of her father.
Man.
Criminals and burglars who were just as irritated by supers as the politicians were hired, and they shot him at the NSA's behest. It's the politicians' assassination. Death solved. Why are the criminals angry? Duh, heroes trying to foil their plans. But why are the politicians angry? They not only want to regain their power, but they're also angry because supers are taking money from them. As we hear in the first movie, it
Taking
costs
money.
the government, I think, something like billions being sued by themselves. So what changed? What now allows supers to be legal? Well, TV, obviously. The Deavors. People can see
Oh,
the
hold
process.
on. There was some text on the bottom.
Well, TV, obviously.
Supers were also less popular after Daddy Deavor died. I think the reason he was killed is so that he could promote them on via TV.
The Deavors. People can see the process. The Incredibles 2 hinges upon this concept.
Yeah,
but with
a lot.
Winston, it's all about the money. Winston wants to be known as the guy who brought back supers. I suppose it's better than Evelyn's goal, a goal intentionally instilled into her by the NSA. Only later, when she tried to kill the ambassadors, did she realize the government's impact on her. And that is my theory of the NSA's true intentions, on the politicians' true intentions, and on the true death of the Deavor's father. All proven so intensely by the second movie. Boom, boom, bang! Short intro, short outro, and so, subscribe, click the bell, select all notifications,
Okay, yeah,
you'll be informed
but like,
when I post more
overall,
of
the
this.
Incredibles 2 theories,
Until that time comes, everyone,
it only was a short
I'm the
outro in
Theorizer.
all that in this video. Overall, definitely felt short, straight to the point, which I like a lot. So there you have it, guys. That is my reaction to the two Incredibles 2 theories. The first one was about Evelyn, where I guess she's not the only one involved with the screenslaver, but also Winston as well. And then the second one here was, I guess, somewhat more about them, but also now the government is involved, where they seem to be having more power than I thought, where they're sending out these supervillains, like the Underminer, and just pretty much doing everything that they can to take down these superheroes. But yeah, I think this is very interesting. I do think, I thought about it some bits before recording this part of the video, where I do agree with this title here that says that it does change everything, because I thought about it for like a few minutes, and I think ever since I thought about like the concept of a third movie, where I remember earlier I said that he could be a potential third villain, but then I thought about like all the antagonists so far, if that were to be the case. All the antagonists in the first movie, we got Syndrome. The second movie, we got Evelyn. And then yeah, let's say if I'm right, if he's the third villain, or I guess in this video, let's say it's the government. Pretty much every villain so far, or the antagonist at the very least, they've all been non-superhero people, like they don't have powers. And like I'm trying to remember, like I'm trying to think like back to like all the supervillains if they had powers, and also the heroes as well, like the actual superheroes too. Like I think for the most part, like the way I saw like the superheroes, they all have powers, whereas the villains, like the Underminer, he just has technology. The same thing with like Syndrome, and I guess the screenslaver here too with Evelyn. You know, they're all just technology based, where they can do these things that feel like superpowers, but they're just technology. They're just really smart. And then also too, I think after when Mr. Incredible in the first movie, after he saved that guy falling from the building, suddenly a supervillain appears, right? I think his name was Bon Voyage, and I guess he just has a lot of bombs with him. Like yeah, like Mr. Incredible was able to easily dispose of him, right? I think. I kind of forgot. Or I don't know if he got away. But he didn't look like he had like, you know, any superpowers like flying or something like that. I just think he has bombs. And then also too, like I remember he said that the criminals, like they don't like the superheroes because they put them into jail and stuff. Whereas the government, you know, they have like other means as well. And I feel like every opposing force that I've seen so far has been just non-superpowered people going up against superheroes that have powers. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just something that I don't know much about the lore of Incredibles because you know there could be a lot more villains than yeah what the movie shows. I mean, yeah, there's definitely like ever since I watched the Alex Bale, like Incredibles theory, like that was back when I didn't like rewatch the first movie, and I didn't even realize there was like a bunch of other heroes too, other than Frozone and the Incredible family. But yeah, there could also just be another like league of supervillains that I don't even know about. I'm sure that's probably the case. I'm just basing it on like what my mind is, you know, what my mind currently has when it comes to the information. So yeah, if there are like super villains that have actual powers, then yeah, you can like disregard like everything that I've said about like I guess the antagonist always being non-superpowered people. But it does seem like it just based on like what I've seen so far. Um, it is an interesting thing to think about, but yeah, I do think it this one over here, just involving the government, it does change everything. I think it definitely changed my perspective on what the third movie might be like. But yeah, I know I've pretty much like drift away from the theories here. I did, you know, incorporate them a little bit. I just pretty much made my own little mini theory. And maybe after this video, I do want to maybe look up like the actual list of heroes and villains to see if that is consistent to where the superheroes have actual powers, whereas the villains, they're all like they don't really have natural superpowers. They just got like technology on them. But yeah. Anyways, that's just my little rants at the end there. Anyways, I like these two theories. It was a lot of fun just watching them, and also just watching The Incredibles again. Because yeah, the first movie really, I didn't realize just how much deep they were with the lore. I just mainly remember like I guess all the fun stuff when I was a kid. But yeah, really cool. But next time we'll move on to the most believable Pixar theory ever posted. I guess we'll see if that's the really is the case compared to like I mean for me I feel like the syndrome stuff. Yeah, these Incredible 1 theories for me were the most believable. We'll see if that is the case for this one. And then yeah, I guess we can add one more. The thing is like I'm not sure how this is all laid out. Seems like it's a bunch of like different a bunch of different movies. So maybe we'll watch this one in one video and then we can just do like multiple because they seem to be on the shorter side, it seems. Yeah, there's like a lot. And then maybe we'll save this for like its own. Yeah, maybe I can do that. Okay. I think that's the plan. I'll watch the 32-minute video in one video, and then maybe the rest will be the video after. A bunch of these like shorter theories here. Alright, so yeah. I'll go ahead and end it here. I feel like there was more that I want to say when it comes to my theory on these two. But you know, I've tried my best to, you know, say whatever I can on camera, and I feel like I've already said enough. I've already like talked a lot. Anyway, guys, that'll be it for now. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good